Okay, it looks like we're finally getting some movement around these different pieces of hardware from Valve, the Steam controller, the Steam machine, the Steam frame. And there's a lot of questions around things like price points. Well, it looks like the price for one of these leaked out a bit early, and that, of course, then brings up all kinds of questions around pricing across the board. But we'll go over all of that here today. So if you guys enjoy the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. So what's been going on here over the last couple of days now is Komodo Station, which is the official license provider for Valve with Steam Deck in Japan, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and South Korea. Remember, they had pages go live early before the Steam machine was even fully unveiled and announced by Valve. It looks like pages are once again going live, or at least getting set up for what we would assume to be full on distribution, taking pre orders. But out of the three, it appears that the one that actually had like new assets and things to check out was the Steam controller. Now, remember, the Steam controller is we believe going to be tied to the other two devices, the machine and the frame, as it seems like Valve wants to launch everything all at once. But people have kind of said, hey, you know what? If the Steam machine's not going to be ready anytime soon, can we get the controller out there? Because I already have a PC I can use. I want the new Steam controller. And it's possible that maybe Valve is hearing people on that, because we can see some of the pages here, as of course the internet doesn't forget, so they go through and start screen capping all these different pages that were up on Komodo Station. So we have the controller here showing off the puck, and you know the thing I'm curious about with the puck, they haven't really mentioned, but since this goes through USB, I'm curious if there are plans for it to wake your PC as well. Like, so if it's like a something you have hooked up to your TV in the living room, kind of similar to the Steam frame, but maybe you build your own little Steam box. If maybe you could have Wake through USB set up for Steam OS, that's something I think would be very, very interesting, and would give you a reason even to leave that little puck plugged in, or even buy the puck separately if you can, if it's able to be woken up here by, in this case, the Steam controller. But at very least, it will charge the controller through magnets, so I think that's pretty cool. And then we have the magnetic thumbsticks. So these using the TMR technology, the idea being it won't necessarily have the same situation of drift that you have with many of these other thumbsticks that we have in like a PlayStation, a Switch 2, an Xbox controller. This would be something that would be, you'd assume, more reliable, of course. And they do support the capacitive touch to enable motion controls. We have the grip enabled gyro. So pretty cool. They call it Grip Sense. All right. And as I was going through here and I'm looking at all of this, right? I mean, it looks good, but I was like, oh man, there's no. You're kind of hoping the price would get out there, because I was genuinely curious, what is this thing going to cost? Since I do think the price of the controller is going to tell us a lot about Valve's direction for their Steam machine specifically. And I mean, the Steam frame kind of exists, I think, in a world where people are already sort of understanding of higher pricing, and VR is not a cheap thing to get into if you want good VR. But when it comes to the Steam machine and kind of what it'll be competing with home consoles, this is a bit of a different story there at expectation level. So we have the controller, which also I did grab this, and I thought it'd be kind of funny to take a look. This was the original Steam controller, in case you forgot. It came out in 2015, and it released at a price point of $50, which was much more in line with the PS4 and the Xbox One controller. Yes, those would be on sale a lot back then, but I would say $50 for the Steam controller was like right there with the other two controllers. But it was also significantly more limited than what Valve is offering here. And look, this thing just looks. I mean, it looks ugly now. My opinion. I never was really a fan of the original Steam controller. I do know they eventually sold it for $5, and I remember picking one up at that point, because I'm like, look, it's $5. I may as well just at least have it for the sake of having the original Steam controller. But my point is, the new one looks much, much better than what Valve originally had, and it's very clear they learned a lot from the Steam Deck. Okay, with all that said, how much would you envision the Steam controller, this new one, costing, like in terms of retail? When you go to pre-order it, what do you expect to pay for it? I think a lot of people were looking more in line with a PS5 or an Xbox Series controller, maybe in the $70 to $80 range. Well, we ended up having a review go live early. Okay, and I don't necessarily want to name the person who put it out there or anything. I'm sure they're dealing with enough as it is from Valve. But the caption that they have, because of course, again, the internet doesn't forget. So what happened was they put the review up early. People, of course, then cataloged it and downloaded it, and they re-uploaded it to Streamable, I believe. So it's out there. It's like a 5-minute review going over the controller, and for the most part, they're very positive on the thing. But then they do talk about the price point, and it's $100. So the Steam controller coming in at, they say 99, but it's $25 more than the PS5 controller. Then that comes in at 75. It's $10 more than the Switch 2 Pro controller. And I know the Xbox Series controllers kind of range wildly. Like they're all over the place. It depends on the color scheme of it, and but that's usually right in line just about with, say, a PS5 controller. So the most expensive controller then you'd assume on the market being that Switch 2 Pro controller, it's still above by $10. And I mean, you can look at this Steam controller and go, it does have a lot more going on for it, even when it comes down to the reliability of the sticks. But at the end of the day, it is still a controller, and it's not necessarily on the level of what we have, say, with the PS5 Edge controller, where you can just change the thumbsticks out. But still, again, the reliability of these types of thumbsticks are notable. And then having the two touchpads, which these in particular are very, very useful on the Steam Deck. And I think when you look at it, you go, I don't know, that seems kind of strange. I don't know if I would really need that. But if you're in like a PC environment specifically, it's night and day. It actually makes navigating around with a mouse cursor possible with a controller. So it's something they had again with the original Steam controller. It just wasn't done as well as what we have now. So I think that is a big differentiating factor there, having these two trackpads available to you there. But $100, I saw that and went, okay, that is about $20 more than I thought this would come in at $80. The Steam controller was where I was kind of thinking. So this immediately is $20 more than where I had it sitting. So then, of course, I start to evaluate the Steam machine, and I'm like, oh, okay. So if we are indeed about to have the Steam machine reveal, which re-reveal, like the price point, the release date, which I do think is possible because, I mean, it sounds crazy since time flies quick now, but we are about to be a third of the way through the year. Like we're about to be done in April, and it's pretty clear to me that Valve wanted the Steam machine to be out already, and so they're kind of still just sitting with this system, and eventually they do have to get it out the door, because if we get to the end of this year and the Steam machine is just releasing, by January or February, we're going to be talking about the Project Helix coming out of Microsoft, and that system, based on everything that's going around right now with rumored specs, going to be much, much more capable than the Steam machine. So you feel like you'd want to give yourself at least a year and a half buffer on that thing, which means you probably want it to come out in the next 2 months. So I'm still thinking end of May is when they're going to have the Steam machine out. But that means they probably want to get pre-orders going here pretty soon. So that's kind of why I'm thinking like the next week or two. And based on the fact that there are just like reviews, there's an unboxing video out there for the controller. I think bare minimum, the controller is going to start pre-orders this week coming up. But the Steam machine is still the thing I'm very curious about. The pricing. I mean, I was thinking they might get this thing out at 700. Now, with what I see with the controller, I'm still kind of leaning towards 7, but 800 is immediately back on the table, especially if they pair it with, of course, the controller that they are seeing as a $100 piece. So at least we have some good news in the fact that all this stuff going around right now shows that Valve is gearing up to at least start taking orders on the Steam controller. And I think there are many people out there who were just looking at the controller at all. That was what they were mostly interested in. And it does seem to be kind of a shame, I'd say, to basically hold the controller hostage because the Steam machine, with all the situation around DRAM with solid state storage and RAM being the main components now that are really climbing in price, it seems kind of a shame to have the Steam controller that's still affected, especially when it comes to shipping. Shipping is insane right now, getting all of that figured out. But we've seen the shipping logs and how there are tens of thousands of Steam controllers apparently that are just ready to go in warehouses. Seems like, you know what? Get the Steam controllers going, get some orders on those, and then reevaluate and figure out what you're going to do with the Steam machine. The other thing that people aren't talking about as much when it comes to this, that's also kind of being held hostage, I think, by the Steam machine, is Half-Life 3, and I know it still sounds crazy to people, but I do think they are going to announce a new Half-Life game that, I mean, most people assume is 3 to help sell the Steam machine. So it's kind of a shame that that probably would have been out right now if it wasn't for all the DRAM fluctuations in the market being absolutely insane. Yeah, you might be playing Half-Life 3 currently. But I guess that's another thing is we can keep an eye out for if they do want to just announce that. Maybe they're like, you know what? It will be on the Steam machine. That will be a thing. It'll be Steam machine ready, but we want to get Half-Life 3 out there too and start selling it. Hey, maybe they'll sell it alongside the controller or something. But that's my hope is that they can at least get something out into the market because man, it's been the silence from Valve has been very loud online where people are like, "Wow, we are about to be in May and there's still no word on pricing or release date on these things." But I think that's about to change probably in the next 1 to 2 weeks. So keep an eye out for that and there you have it. It seems like at least based on the leaked review, the new Steam controller is going to come in at $100. But let me know what you guys think about all of this down below in the comments. Let me know if you're interested in picking up the Steam controller or if you're still holding out, waiting, hoping that the Steam machine can surprise some people in a good way with its pricing. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.